She picked up a toy that fell from his kid's stroller, not knowing he was her future boss and a single-dad CEO. "Excuse me, you dropped this," Luna called out, weaving through the tight morning crowd on the subway. The man ahead of her paused, startled, and turned the stroller slightly. Luna bent down, scooping up a small, plush rabbit that had tumbled unnoticed onto the grimy subway floor. The little girl in the stroller looked at Luna with wide brown eyes. She clutched the toy tightly once it was returned and whispered, "Thank you." Luna smiled. "You are welcome, sweetheart. I used to have one just like this." "Not everyone would stop for something that small," the man said, his voice rough from fatigue. "Thank you." Luna looked up at him, a bit surprised by the warmth in his tired eyes. He looked no older than his early 30s, tall with slightly unkempt brown hair and a 5 o'clock shadow that hinted he had not slept much. His business-casual clothes were rumpled, and his face bore the quiet weight of someone carrying more than just a backpack and a child. "It is small, but it means everything to her," Luna replied, glancing back at the little girl who was now happily hugging the rabbit. The train jolted to a stop. A rush of people surged toward the open doors. "This is us," the man said with a nod, lifting the stroller slightly. "Have a good day." "You too," Luna replied, watching as he disappeared into the sea of commuters, the image of the girl and her rabbit lingering in her mind. Luna sighed and tightened her grip on the portfolio in her arms. She had an interview to get to. Bright Tech's headquarters gleamed with polished glass and quiet professionalism. Luna checked in at the front desk, her nerves buzzing. She had been preparing for weeks. Portfolio sharpened, resume revised a dozen times, every detail rehearsed in her mind. The interview, however, was far from smooth. The panelists were courteous but distant. They asked technical questions she fumbled slightly, and one of them frowned at her limited experience. Afterward, she sat on a bench outside the building, deflated. She stared at the people passing by. Men in suits, women in sleek heels, phones pressed to their ears. Everyone looked like they belonged. She felt like an imposter. Later that night, she returned to her tiny apartment in Queens. The walls were thin, the heating unreliable, but it was her sanctuary. She dropped her portfolio on the table and collapsed on the futon. Her phone buzzed. One new email. The subject line read, "Mentorship Opportunity, Bright Tech." Luna blinked. She opened it. "Dear Luna, I saw something in your interview, something more than lines on a resume. I believe in second chances. Would you consider joining us as a junior intern under a mentorship program? Let me know. Your mentor." There was no name, just your mentor. She stared at the screen, then read it again. Her heart pounded. Someone at Bright Tech had seen something in her, enough to offer a second chance. She exhaled slowly. It felt like the world had paused for just a second to offer her a different door, a quieter one she had not expected. She walked to her desk, pulled out her old sketchbook and flipped to a page of childhood doodles. In the corner of one page, drawn years ago, was a rabbit, just like the one from the train. That moment stayed with her. The kindness of a stranger when she was 5, when she dropped her favorite bear in the middle of a crowded amusement park, and a woman picked it up and said, "It is okay, sweetie. Nothing this small is ever too small to care about." Now here she was, older, more tired, but still believing that kindness mattered. She clicked reply. Yes, thank you for seeing something in me. And somewhere in the back of her mind, she saw that man's face again. The way he looked at his daughter, the way he had thanked her, not just politely, but genuinely. She did not know his name, but she remembered the look, and she remembered the rabbit. Something told her this was not the last time she would see him. Luna stepped into the sleek lobby of Bright Tech on her first official day as a junior intern, clutching her badge with both excitement and nerves. The walls shimmered with innovation, giant screens displaying current projects, employees in modern business casual attire walking briskly with tablets in hand. Everything felt fast, efficient, and just slightly overwhelming. She was assigned to the marketing department, a floor filled with glass-walled meeting rooms, sharp voices, and the smell of artisanal coffee. Her desk was small, tucked in a corner, but it faced the city skyline. It was more than she had ever imagined. Jake, another intern, gave her a tight smile on her first morning. "Welcome," he said, his tone neutral. "They say it is rare to get in mid-cycle. You must have some strong connections." Luna blinked, taken aback. "No, I just applied." Jake raised an eyebrow but said nothing more. She turned away, focusing on her screen. Days passed in a blur of deadlines and data. The pressure was intense. Everyone was trying to outdo each other, pitching campaign ideas, staying late, volunteering for extra tasks. Luna pushed herself hard, even when she doubted whether she belonged. She was aware of how different she was. No Ivy League degree, no polished references, just grit, determination, and the memory of a rabbit on a subway floor. Then came the Monday morning meeting. The team gathered in the main conference room, murmuring over coffee cups and digital notebooks. Luna slipped into the last empty seat just as the door opened and a man walked in. He was tall, wore a navy button-down, sleeves rolled up. His hair was tousled like he had run his hand through it a dozen times. He smiled as he stepped to the head of the table. "Morning, everyone," he said simply. "Let us make this quick. I know you are juggling a lot." Luna froze. Her heart leapt. It was him, the man from the subway, the man with the stroller, the tired eyes and the soft voice, Ryan. He continued the meeting, calm and composed, reviewing project goals, asking questions with quiet focus. "What is the audience feedback from the beta test? Has anyone run sentiment analysis on the latest rollout?" When someone stumbled on a number, he offered reassurance. When Luna hesitantly shared a campaign idea, "What if we used real user voices in our next teaser?" He looked straight at her and said, "That is a solid direction. Explore that." Her chest tightened. He was the CEO? As the meeting ended, people filed out. Luna sat still for a moment, stunned. Jake passed by and leaned in. "That is Ryan Blake, CEO. But he prefers to just go by Ryan. Low profile, total mystery. No one knows much about him." Luna nodded slowly, processing everything. Ryan had not looked at her like he recognized her. Had it really been him? Was she mistaken? No, she remembered the eyes, the way he had looked at Cheryl, the gentle warmth. Back at her desk, Luna could barely concentrate. She kept sneaking glances toward the executive floor beyond the glass, wondering, why would someone like him be on the subway with a child? Why had he helped her? And why now? Pretend nothing happened? Later that afternoon, she passed by a conference room and saw him inside, speaking with a product manager. His posture was relaxed, but his focus sharp. He nodded as he listened, scribbled something in a notebook, then laughed, soft and brief. She ducked out of sight. A knot had formed in her chest, a mix of awe and confusion. If he was truly her anonymous mentor, why not say so? Why hide? She sat back at her desk and opened a blank document, typing random words, not really seeing them. Her thoughts circled around a single question. Why would a man like Ryan Blake, a CEO with everything, ride the subway with a child in a stroller? And why did he look so tired? That night, Luna stood at her window, looking out over the glowing lights of New York City. Somehow, the man who had thanked her for picking up a stuffed rabbit was now at the center of her new life, and he acted like they were strangers. The project was a high-stakes digital initiative for Brighttech's education division. When Luna was chosen for the 5-member team led directly by Ryan Blake, she nearly spilled her coffee. In their first meeting, Ryan stood before a glass board, sleeves rolled up. "This needs to speak to real people, authentic, relatable, and built with care." His eyes scanned the room, pausing briefly on Luna. "Luna, that storytelling idea from last week, expand it. There's something real there." She managed a quiet thank you, heart pounding from the unexpected recognition. In the weeks that followed, Ryan led with quiet authority, calm, thoughtful. He listened more than he spoke, and when Luna voiced an idea, he often circled back. "That's a good thread. Luna's onto something." Each time she felt seen. He sometimes lingered after meetings to ask, "You settling in okay?" or "Feel heard in the group?" Always gentle, always respectful. Still, he never mentioned their subway encounter, never hinted that he remembered. Then came the rainy Thursday. The team was behind schedule. Luna volunteered to pick up a prototype from a partner office. She had no umbrella, but ran anyway. By the time she returned, soaked, sniffling, head pounding, she barely made it through the day. The next morning, she found a small brown paper bag on her desk. Inside, a thermos of ginger tea, tissues, and a note. "Rest a little. Rest. R.R." She held the note, stunned. It was simple, quiet, but it reached deep. Someone had noticed. Someone remembered. Someone cared. Through the glass, Ryan stood in conversation with the tech lead. He didn't glance her way, but she knew. Later, in the printing room, she heard soft giggles. Turning, she saw a little girl in a purple dress holding a teddy bear. Cheryl. Luna's breath caught. The child lit up. "It's the bunny lady." Luna crouched. "You remember me?" Cheryl nodded, handing her a crumpled drawing. 2 stick figures holding hands, one tall, one small. "Ms. Luna is pretty," it read in bold letters. Luna blinked fast. "Thank you, sweetheart." Ryan appeared at the doorway, smiling. "She insisted on giving it to you herself. I hope that's okay." "She's amazing," Luna said, still stunned. "She remembers kindness," he replied. "Not everyone stops for a stuffed bunny." Their eyes met. A pause. Then someone called for Ryan, and he walked away. That night, Luna sat in her apartment, the drawing in her lap, tea steaming nearby. She thought about Ryan, his leadership, his patience, his care for Cheryl, and how he saw her not just as an intern, but as someone worth listening to. But her heart, bruised from childhood betrayals, cautioned her. Could she trust this? Was it real or just another mask? She looked at the drawing again. Ms. Luna is pretty, she wanted to believe. Her throat still ached, but the tea had soothed it, the tissues helped, and Cheryl's giggle lingered in her memory. Luna held the drawing to her chest and closed her eyes. She was falling, and she was afraid. "Do you ever feel like history is trying to repeat itself?" Luna asked, her voice low. Mia stirred her coffee slowly, watching her friend across the booth. "What do you mean?" Luna hesitated, eyes drifting toward the window where rain tapped lightly against the glass. "My mom. She used to work in an office. She was just a clerk, but good at what she did. Her manager, he took advantage. Not physically, just manipulation. Emotional threats. Made her feel small. And when she pushed back, he fired her." Mia leaned forward. "Luna, I was 11, Luna continued. "I remember coming home from school and finding her crying on the kitchen floor. Her makeup was smeared. She kept repeating, 'I did the right thing, I did the right thing.' But the rent was due, and there was no backup plan. She was never the same after that." Mia reached across the table, gently squeezing her hand. "You are not your mother, and Ryan is not that man." Luna gave a weak smile. "But how can I be sure?" That night, Ryan sat alone in his home office, an untouched glass of scotch beside him. On his desk lay an old photo. His wife, Maria, smiling as she held newborn Cheryl, radiant and exhausted. He traced the edge of the frame. He remembered the hospital room, the joy, the laughter, the alarms that came too late. She had gone in hours. He had not known what life without her would feel like until he held Cheryl and realized he would raise her alone. Since then, everything had been about protection, stability, no risks. His mother, Margaret, reminded him constantly. "She needs consistency," she would say. Not a parade of interns and fleeting kindnesses. That morning, Margaret had joined him for breakfast at the company lounge. She stirred her tea slowly. "Ryan, I saw your interaction with the young intern. Luna, is it?" He sighed. We work together." "She is a child," Margaret said coolly, "and an intern no less. People notice. They talk." He tensed. "I treat all my employees with respect. You treat her like she matters more. I am not the only one who sees it." Margaret lowered her voice. "You need to make a decision. Claire's family has agreed to move forward. The engagement would be a good signal for the board." He looked up sharply. "I am not marrying someone for politics." "Then do it for Cheryl," Margaret replied, tone steely. "She deserves a secure future. You have responsibilities beyond your heart." Later, in her apartment, Luna sat cross-legged on the couch, Cheryl's drawing still pinned to her wall. A swirl of crayon hearts surrounded the words, "Miss Luna is pretty." She thought about the way Ryan looked at her. Not like a boss, not like someone judging, but like someone seeing her. But was it real? She remembered the way he had placed that cup of ginger tea on her desk without a word, how he had stayed behind after the meeting to ask if she was managing the workload. It was the same warmth she saw in his eyes whenever Cheryl entered the room. And yet, she imagined a boardroom where powerful men laughed over drinks, choosing who to promote, who to seduce, who to discard. Her mother's eyes, hollow with shame, the eviction notice pinned to their front door. She felt her walls rise. The next week, she made a quiet decision. She stopped staying late, avoided one-on-one interactions. In meetings, she answered questions, but no longer made eye contact longer than necessary. Ryan noticed. During a late presentation review, he asked, "Are you all right?" She gave a polite nod, "Just tired." He did not push. But something shifted in the air between them, an invisible wall that had not been there before. At home, Luna stared at the drawing on her wall. It had become more than art. It was a memory, a simple kindness that had tied her to something bigger, a father, a child, a warmth she missed. But the fear would not leave, the what-ifs, the doubt. She sat in silence, the city noise humming in the background. Could she risk it? Could she trust that this time kindness was not a prelude to betrayal? She traced the edge of the drawing again, her heart aching in quiet uncertainty. The murmur started in the break room, where gossip thrived, like weeds in sunlight. Jake leaned against the counter, arms folded, voice lowered, but just loud enough for others to overhear. "You know Ryan? People say he likes to test the staff. Pretends to be just a guy. Watches how you act when you think no one important's watching." Luna, passing by with her coffee, froze. Another intern, curious, asked, "You mean like a loyalty test?" Jake smirked. "Call it what you want. He once joined a coding team under a fake name before promoting one of the engineers." "That intern? Thought they were friends. Turns out he was the CEO all along." Luna's stomach turned. The rabbit, the soft smile, the hidden hand that had given her a second chance, the tea on her desk, the subtle nods of approval. It was all too neat. Was he testing her too? That night, Luna sat on her bed, the email he had sent her weeks ago still open on her laptop, the one that had saved her internship after her rejection. She had once reread it for encouragement. Now, it read differently. Sometimes the smallest actions show the biggest character. People like you, we need more of them. Had he written that to manipulate her into loyalty, into gratitude? She started avoiding Ryan again. Her answers in meetings were clipped. She avoided eye contact. No more quiet laughs, no more gentle thank yous when he held the door. Ryan noticed. He waited until late one evening, when most employees had left. Luna was organizing files for the presentation when he entered the small glass-walled conference room. "Luna," he said gently, "can we talk?" She nodded stiffly, still flipping through charts. "I've noticed something changed," Ryan said. "Did I do something wrong?" She closed the folder slowly. "Why did you pretend not to be the CEO that day, on the train?" Ryan blinked. "I did not pretend. I just did not introduce myself, and you gave me a second chance after I was rejected," she added. "You had power over my fate, and you never told me." He looked stunned. "I was trying to help, but you watched," she said, voice rising. "You watched me struggle, you watched me open up, you knew everything, and I knew nothing." Ryan's jaw clenched. "I never used what I knew against you. You tested me," Luna snapped. "Like you did that engineer Jake mentioned. You wanted to see what I would do." "No," Ryan said, firm now. "I never tested you." "Then what was it?" she challenged. "Was it some guilt project? Make the sad intern feel special? See if she's worth saving?" Ryan pulled something from his wallet and placed it on the table between them, a photo, slightly worn at the edges. He took her hand, his wife, smiling in a hospital gown, holding newborn Cheryl, both glowing. "She died the same day this photo was taken," he said quietly. "She lost too much blood. I walked out of that hospital with a baby and an empty soul. I did not know how to live after that." Luna's anger wavered. "I was not testing you," he said. "I was trying to feel human again. You picked up a rabbit on a subway floor, and for the first time in a long time I saw kindness without expectation. I gave you a chance not because I pitied you, but because you reminded me that people still care." Before Luna could reply, a small voice interrupted from the hallway. "Daddy?" Cheryl, in her polka-dot dress holding her stuffed rabbit, peeked in, worry on her face. "Why is Ms. Luna mad at you?" Ryan stood. "Sweetheart," Cheryl rushed in, wrapping her tiny arms around Luna's legs. "Please do not be mad at Daddy. He is a good daddy. He misses Mommy, but he smiles more when you are here." Luna's heart cracked. She bent down, brushing a tear from Cheryl's cheek. "I am not mad at you, sweetheart, but you are crying," Cheryl whispered. Luna could not respond. She stood, gently detaching Cheryl's arms, and walked out of the room, past Ryan, past the memories, past the guilt. In the break room, she collapsed onto the bench, tears spilling freely. From her tote bag, a folded piece of paper slipped out, Cheryl's drawing from weeks ago. Crayon hearts and curly hair and big eyes, labeled, "Ms. Luna is pretty." She clutched it to her chest, her shoulders trembling. For all the walls she had built, a child had walked right through, and it hurt more than she expected. Luna handed in her resignation on a rainy Thursday morning, her heart heavier than the clouds outside. The whispers in the office, the half-finished sentences that stopped when she walked in, the distance in her coworkers' smiles, it was all too much. Jake's rumor had done its damage. She was tired of defending what she could not explain, of pretending she did not care. Ryan read her letter in silence, seated behind his desk. He looked up only once, eyes unreadable. "If this is truly what you want," he said softly, "I will not stop you." Luna nodded once, tightly. "It is for the best." As she turned to leave, he added, "You should check your email before you go." She did not reply. Her inbox pinged with a message minutes later. The subject line read, "About the rabbit." She closed her laptop without reading it. The next week, she found herself working part-time at a second-hand bookstore tucked into a quiet corner of Brooklyn. The scent of old pages and wood polish calmed her. She stocked shelves, rang up customers, and spent her breaks tucked between poetry and philosophy, trying to rebuild the quiet inside her. She told herself she had made the right choice, until Cheryl walked in. It was a slow Wednesday afternoon, and Luna was shelving books in the children's section when she heard a familiar giggle. She turned and froze. Cheryl stood by the reading rug, holding a worn picture book in one hand and her bunny in the other. Behind her was a young woman Luna assumed to be the nanny. "Ms. Luna!" Cheryl squealed, dropping the book and running over. She wrapped her arms around Luna's waist, burying her face in her sweater. Luna blinked, stunned. "Cheryl?" The nanny looked apologetic. She insisted we stop when she saw the store. Luna crouched, her voice low. "What are you doing here, sweetheart?" Cheryl looked up. "I missed you." Luna's heart twisted. "Do you hate my daddy?" Cheryl asked suddenly. "Because he cries when you are not there?" Luna opened her mouth, but no words came. "Says you are brave," Cheryl whispered. "Like Mommy." The world shifted under Luna's feet. The nanny called gently, and Cheryl gave Luna one last squeeze before waving goodbye, dragging her bunny behind her. Mia arrived that evening, holding 2 coffees and a knowing look. "You saw her, didn't you?" Luna nodded, still shaken. Mia handed her the phone. "You need to read that email." Luna hesitated. Her hands trembled slightly as she unlocked the screen and opened the message Ryan had sent days ago. Subject: "About the rabbit Luna, I know you are hurting, and I hate that I am part of the reason, but I need you to know something. That day on the subway, when you picked up a toy no one else would have noticed, you did more than return a stuffed animal. You saved my daughter's smile. You reminded me of my wife, who used to say, 'Kindness is what remains when the world forgets to be kind.' But more than that, when you picked up that rabbit, you gave me a reason to look up again. You made a morning that felt unbearable, bearable. You gave me a glimpse of hope when I did not think I deserved any. So no, I was not testing you. You were the one who reminded me that compassion still exists, that people still care, even when they do not have to, and for that, for everything, I thank you. I hope one day you will forgive me for not saying all of this sooner." At the bottom of the email, a scanned drawing appeared. It was from Cheryl. In crayon, beneath a wobbly sun and a smiling bunny, were the words, "Ems Luna, please do not go." Luna stared at it, her vision blurring with tears. Mia reached over, squeezing her hand. "Sometimes, the ones who see us most clearly are only 4 years old." Luna said nothing, but her tears fell freely. Something inside her cracked open, and this time she let it. The grand ballroom shimmered with light and music. Bright Tech's end-of-year gala was elegant, silver linens, jazz, and clinking glasses. Luna stood near the back, in a simple navy dress, her heart unsteady. She hadn't planned to come, but Cheryl's drawing was still in her purse, and her heart hadn't quite moved on from the man who once noticed her cough and left her tea. The lights dimmed. A spotlight lit the stage. Ryan stepped up to the podium. He looked every inch the CEO now, sharp tuxedo, calm presence, but his voice still carried that quiet warmth Luna remembered. "I stand here not just as Bright Tech's CEO," he began, "but as a father, a single father who was reminded that kindness, quiet, unnoticed kindness, still matters." The room stilled. Months ago, a young woman picked up a stuffed bunny on a subway floor. A small act, but to me, it meant everything. Luna's chest tightened. "That woman is here tonight," Ryan continued. "She didn't know I was anyone important. She just cared." On the screen behind him, a logo appeared, Small Kindnesses. "It's our new initiative to support unsung heroes who make the world gentler, in neighborhoods, schools, hospitals, wherever quiet goodness lives." Applause rose. Then a small voice rang out. "Ms. Luna!" Cheryl ran toward her, arms wide. Luna knelt, overcome. "You came," she whispered. "You're my angel," the little girl said, hugging her. Camera flashes burst. From the front row, Ryan's mother, Margaret Blake, stood stiffly. She stepped to Ryan and whispered something sharp. He listened, then returned to the mic. "I want to be clear," he said, his voice steady. "The woman my daughter loves, the one who changed my life, is the person I choose. Not for business, for truth." Gasps stirred. Margaret turned and left. Later that night, snow began falling softly in Central Park. Luna and Ryan sat on a bench, Cheryl asleep beside them. "That speech," Luna began. "I meant every word," Ryan replied. "I've been scared," she said, "of you, of getting hurt again." "I've been scared too," he admitted. "My mother wanted safe choices, strategic ones. I nearly gave in, but I realized, what's the point of protecting a life that isn't real?" He pulled out a small velvet box. Luna stiffened. "Ryan." It's not a ring, he smiled. It's a key. Inside was a brass key on a chain. I'm not asking for forever, just the chance to build something true, at your pace. Luna looked from the key to his eyes. You turned down a planned engagement. For this? For you? She hesitated. And if it doesn't work? Then at least we tried, honestly. Wind stirred her hair. She took the key slowly from the stroller. Cheryl stirred. Luna brushed snow from her hood. She's why I came, Luna said. She believes in things I forgot how to. She reminds me too, Ryan whispered. Luna reached for Cheryl's hand, then looked at Ryan. I forgive you, she said softly. And I believe you. He nodded, eyes damp. That's all I ever wanted. The three of them sat beneath the snowy trees, no longer strangers, not yet a perfect picture, but something real. A small family, gently formed, chosen. 1 year later, Luna stood by the mural wall at the headquarters of Small Kindnesses, chalk dust on her fingers as she helped Cheryl draw a field of sunflowers. What began as a charity initiative had grown into something far more meaningful. Once an intern on the subway, Luna was now the public engagement coordinator, helping shape stories of compassion across New York City. Wearing a faded yellow cardigan, her hair tied in a bun, Luna looked content, her smile one of quiet joy rather than perfection. Cheryl, now 5.5, giggled beside her, adding a rainbow above the flowers. Ryan walked out of the building, toolbox in hand. Front wheels wobbly again, he said, crouching next to Cheryl's well-loved stroller. Let me guess, you used a paperclip again? He raised an eyebrow. Paperclips are engineering marvels. They laughed. A harmony forged by time, trust, and thousands of small shared moments. Inside, volunteers buzzed around, preparing for the launch of Kindness Corners, bright storytelling booths set to appear in parks and libraries, where strangers could leave hopeful notes, memories, or advice. The air was alive with purpose. Mia arrived, arms full of wildflowers. Told you one subway ride could change your life, she said, pulling Luna into a hug. You also told me to never talk to men in suits, Luna whispered back. Well, I'm glad you ignored that part. They shared a laugh as Mia glanced over at Ryan and Cheryl. You look happy. I am, Luna said quietly, and meant it. Later that afternoon, as guests began to leave and cleanup started, Jake approached. He looked sheepish, hands stuffed in his coat pockets. I owe you an apology, he said. For what I said about Ryan? For doubting you. Luna held his gaze for a moment, then offered a kind smile. Thank you, that means a lot. Jake hesitated. I've been building this accessibility app for blind commuters. Been stuck on the outreach part, and I heard you're, well, kind of amazing at that now. Luna chuckled. Let's work on it together. His eyes widened. Really? She nodded toward the lobby sign. It's what we do here. Kindness. As the sun began to dip behind the skyline, Luna, Ryan, and Cheryl walked home together. Central Park blushed with early spring, buds peeking through, soft petals dancing in the breeze. Cheryl skipped ahead, one hand in Luna's, the other clutching a small white bunny. Its fur was a little faded, its neck gently sewn where it had once torn. The same bunny that had started it all. Thanks for fixing Bun Bun again, Cheryl said cheerfully. Now he's perfect. No one's perfect, sweetheart, Luna replied gently. But love makes us whole. They reached the stone bridge near the reservoir when Cheryl paused, tugging Luna's sleeve. Luna? Yes, honey. I want you to be my mommy forever. Luna knelt down slowly, heart pounding. You do? Cheryl nodded and placed the bunny in Luna's lap. You fixed him. You fixed us. Ryan stopped too, eyes misting. He placed a hand on Luna's back. She's right. You fixed more than you'll ever know. Luna cupped Cheryl's cheeks, voice trembling. A little bunny brought us together, didn't he? Cheryl nodded again. Luna looked at them, this child who had trusted her from the start, this man who had once been a stranger in the crowd, and whispered, "Let's go home." So they did, beneath blooming cherry trees, with the breeze stirring the petals around their feet. They walked, hand in hand, heart to heart, not just a man and his daughter and the woman who once picked up a toy, but a family, not born, chosen, stitched together by kindness, mended by love, and ready for whatever came next. If this story touched your heart, made you smile, or reminded you that even the smallest act of kindness can change a life, then you've felt exactly what we hope to bring with every tale we share. At Soul-Stirring Stories, we believe that love, compassion, and second chances are worth celebrating. Luna's journey, from a hopeful intern to a beloved mother figure, is just one of many powerful reminders that the world can be kinder than we expect, and that sometimes all it takes is a small gesture, like picking up a little bunny. If you want more heartfelt, emotional, and inspiring stories like this one, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell to never miss a moment that just might heal your soul. Thank you for watching. Stay kind, and remember, every small kindness leaves a mark. See you in the next story. Subscribe now to Soul-Stirring Stories.